South Korea and Japan's leaders meet in Tokyo on Thursday in what has been hailed as a new milestone in their fraught relationship. It comes just as North Korea fired a fourth round of missiles in a week. BBC correspondents examine what's at stake in the first such meeting between the two countries since 2011. Jean Mackenzie and Seoul South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol has pulled off quite the coup to get this summit. This is the first time a South Korean leader has been invited to Tokyo for such a meeting in 12 years. The relationship between these neighbors has been plagued for decades by their difficult history. South Korea was colonized by Japan from 1910 until the end of World War II. Japanese soldiers forced hundreds of thousands of Koreans to work in its mines and factories. Women were pushed into sexual slavery. These scars, while no longer fresh, are not forgotten nor forgiven here. But last week, President Yoon dropped the demand that Japan compensate some of the victims of its slavery. He agreed South Korea would raise the money instead. In doing so, he sought to put aside the past for the sake of the security of Northeast Asia. The opposition leader branded the deal the biggest humiliation in our history. But it won President Yoon this trip to Tokyo. Diplomats here are quietly surprised and impressed. They see it as a brave and astute move, especially for a political novice, with no foreign policy experience. Until last year, Mr. Yoon was a lawyer. Since taking office, he has made repairing this fractured relationship a cornerstone of his foreign policy. With nuclear-armed North Korea becoming more dangerous, Seoul stands to benefit from sharing intelligence with Tokyo and having their militaries work together. He also wants to please his ally, the US, which is desperately trying to draw its partners closer to combat the rise of China. President Joe Biden hailed Mr. Yoon's Japan deal as a groundbreaking new chapter. The next day he sent him an invitation to the White House for a prestigious state visit. This also signals a fresh chapter for South Korea's place in the world. President Yoon wants to end what he sees as his country's tunnel vision over North Korea. Instead, he is looking outwards, across the Indo-Pacific, at the bigger role South Korea can play. An invitation by the Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida to May's G7 summit in Hiroshima would be a mission accomplished. There are economic rewards to be reaped too.